The following review is intended for entertainment purposes and targeted for adult fans of the series.
Alrighty, it's now time for that fun scoring math. Scoring the show, as I mentioned earlier, was complicated because I was only comparing it to itself and giving my gut feelings on every episode. It's perfectly clear that a TTAF 5 probably wasn't as good as a Beast Morphers 3. The shows were produced at different times, with different production standards, for different reasons.
Well, that settles that.
Having once again done the tedious work of tracking down the scores, I swear I need to keep a score sheet for episodes I review. The main thing that sticks out to me is a difference between the first half and the second half. I mentioned in later reviews that the show was wearing on me, and the scores bear that out. The first 20 episodes of TTAF, the Season 1 in Nickelodeon format, got a total of 69.25 signs out of a possible 100, averaging 3.46 signs out of 5. Pretty solid. The back half, the Season 2, fell to 61.25 signs out of 100, averaging just 3.06. The best and worst episodes are both in the second half, and honestly not all that far apart. The worst episode of TTAF was Emperor for a Day, the Lechner-focused episode I mentioned. It was cute to get a focus episode on him, but it was just empty, meaningless, and dumb, especially overdoing the gag where Nimbar deeply respects the intelligence of the mystery foe they were facing. One thing TTAF got right was to have its best episode be its finale. It's a Gorganis Life focuses almost entirely on the main villain, showing us a world where he's won and has control. It makes clear what the stakes are, and then ends with a face-to-face battle, finally. The only episode of TTAF to get 5 signs earned it. Overall, Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills got 130.5 signs out of a possible 200, averaging a 3.26 out of 5. And that fits pretty well with my final impressions of TTAF. I'd say that this show was surprisingly okay. It was weird enough to just barely be remembered by pop culture, perhaps the most strongly remembered of the Power Rangers ripoffs. But the show just kept finding ways to surprise me with deeper writing and storylines, quoting philosophers, stuff I'd never expect from a show like this. Having re-experienced the show now completely, I can still say that I have fond memories of it. I want to end off with something that I actually forgot to mention at the start of the video. I could have just edited the script, but hey, why not make my mistake obvious? Being a show from the 90s, I thought it would be interesting to see where some of these actors, the main 4, I'll say, are now. They were all fairly young actors at the time. Did they keep on acting, or did they go on to do other things? Leslie Dannon is probably the most successful actor of the 4. Laurie's actress started acting in 1988 and already had 12 acting credits to her name when she landed the role of Laurie. She kept acting after the show ended, and a role that caught my attention was having played Cadet Faith Gage in the game Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Her last acting credit on IMDb is from 2002 in the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie When in Rome, playing Jamie. Interestingly, after that, information comes from a LinkedIn page that she has. She says that in her 30s, she reconnected with her best friend, and they now have 2 children together. She's appeared at the Hollywood Improv and other comedy venues. She's worked on commercials for major brands, and wrote a comedy spec script that ended up placing in the Nashville Film Festival. She completed a professional chef course in 2016, but since then lists herself as simply a busy mom living in Los Angeles. Unlike Leslie Dannon, Richard Nason's portrayal of Gordon was his very first acting credit. He went on to do a little bit of character work after that. Funny enough, he was in a short film in 1998 and then didn't appear in anything for 13 years, next appearing as a hotel manager in Do Not Disturb in 2011. Also, it turns out he was a contestant on The Price is Right in 1994, the same year he was doing Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters, interestingly. Okay, so this is weird. We once again turn to LinkedIn to get information on the post-acting career. Funny enough, Nason perfectly emulated Gordon going into business. After a career in sales, Nason went into real estate, working at a firm for 5 years before opening his very own Nason property in 2020. Okay, we may have found a match for Dannon in the whole acting thing. Rugg Williams, who played Swinton, had 10 acting credits to his name before playing Swinton on Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters. He's best known among them for playing Eugene Glendon on 10 episodes of In the Heat of the Night over 4 years. He has 13 acting credits after TTAF, things like Sister Sister, Family Matters, Walker Texas Ranger, etc., etc. Williams actually has an acting credit from this year playing, and I'm not kidding about this, you can look it up yourself, White Black Panther on the sketch comedy show Sketchy. Williams has also taken up writing and producing for Sketchy, as well as helping to produce Millennials, a show that he helped to create that will air on AMC. Now we get to the best actor on the show, who ironically enough by far had the shortest acting career. Jill Urbach, who at the time was known as K. Jill Sorgan, had done 4 episodes of television before landing on TTAF. Saved by the Bell, 2 episodes of Weird Science, as 2 different characters oddly enough, and California Dreams. Then she got her big break, 40 episodes as a main character on Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters, and never acted again. I can't be sure if she tried or not, but that was the end of her acting career. So it's back to LinkedIn to find out that Urbach taught 3rd and 4th grade for 6 years, from 2012 to 2018. Other bios I found mentioned that she was a jazz singer and she also has 2 children. She is now a writer. She wrote a fiction story called 2 Room Flat that gained her some fame, and I could swear that she had another book out, but my Google Foo is failing me. However, some of you might be aware of the fact that I'm kind of dancing around that's the most interesting thing about her. Miss Urbach is also a YouTuber. Yes, she has not 1 but 2 channels, one of them being a less active older channel, one being her currently active channel. And she posted a video just a week ago, so she is, as of the publishing of this video, an active YouTuber that you can go check out right now. She seems to post kind of family living and empty nester stuff with a little Drew-esque psychology thrown in here and there. Her first channel was simply her name, Jill Urbach, and probably more intended to publicize her writing, but her second channel is called Living the Midlife. 3 months ago, she posted 2 videos that we would find the most interesting. They came from a podcast interview she did about her time on Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters. It is, as far as I can find, really the only time that someone that was on the show acknowledged their time on the show. If you care about this show at all, I strongly recommend watching the videos. She talks a lot about things like their work process. They were churning out like 4 or 5 episodes a week, really cranking them out. She speaks pretty fondly of her time as Drew, so if you're interested in that, I strongly suggest you give it a look. And subscribe to her channel, Living the Midlife, if you're into what she's doing now. 9th page. And I thought I wouldn't have anything to say in recapping this show. And I'm actually not done talking about this show. I am for this video, don't worry about that. However, I was so dissatisfied with this show just not having an ending that I decided to write my own. How does the battle with Gorganis end? Where do the Sentinels go after their time as superheroes, if they survive this final fight? Now, I've actually had this in the works for a while since I finished reviewing the show, so I actually have an audio clip of Totally Not 90s Dude previewing the 41st episode of Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills in the end. Dude! Emperor Gorganis decides to throw all of his might at the Sentinels, unleashing his entire horde of monsters at once. Can the Sentinels overcome the distractions of their futures to save the day one more time? Kind of bittersweet hearing that voice again. That is going to wrap up the recap of Tattoo Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills. Thank you, heroes, so much as always for watching and for indulging me as I continue to talk about this weird little side interest show of mine. Let me know what you thought of the show and of my recap of it down in the comments below. Did you have a favorite character, a favorite episode that stands out? Talk about that down in the comments below. And while you're down there, make sure you smack that thumbs up button to let me know that you enjoyed this video. Until next time, heroes, may the power portals protect you. It was just weird enough to be the most remembered of the Power Rangers ripoffs. That's not how I wrote it. Just weird enough to barely be remembered. Perhaps the most memorable. I'd say the show was surprisingly okay. Lori's actress had already... She completed a professional chef course in 2016, but since then... Okay, we may have found a match for Danon in terms of the whole acting thing. Acting thing. From 2012 to 2018, Urbach taught kids in 3rd and 12 to 2018, Urbach taught kids in 3rd and 3 months ago, she posted 2 of her more no, I don't want to say that. My review, what you